Hello, and welcome to Were You Not Entertained, where three film fans discuss their favorite flicks. I'm Daniel,
And I'm James.
And I'm Rachel.
and we are going to be discussing Onward, the Disney Pixar film.
Yeah, got dropped onto Disney Plus really quick.
Yes, it did. I think since it came out during the time that it did,
Yeah.
it was actually released in the box office for a very short period of time, and then all the theaters closed.
Yeah, and so it, like other movies, moved to the streaming services so people could watch it.
Yeah, and I was excited to see this. It's the first of the Pixar films without any involvement from John Lasseter since he departed as CEO. So
Really?
I was curious how it was going to go. It's their 22nd film and the first one without him. So
I didn't realize it was their 22nd film. Wow. They've done a lot.
Yeah.
yes.
Been busy.
Doing lots of animation. So this was actually directed by Dan Scanlon, who was also apparently one of the co-writers with Keith Bunyan, I would assume is how you say that, as well as Jason Headley. Then you got they're also the ones that did the screenplay. So a lot of involvement with the same people that actually kind of created this, made it into a reality.
And they also got a lot of involvement from the Wizards of the Coast.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That makes sense. I didn't know that. I'm a huge Wizard of the Coast fan. Everything from D&D to Magic.
Yes, so they wanted to make sure that this was really true to the D&D elements and the way that they go through the storytelling with the gelatinous cube and
Yeah, which
like
is
that.
literally a D&D monster.
Yeah, so just to get it out of the way, spoiler alert, we will spoil everything that we talk about because we want to talk about what happens in the movie.
Of course, we'll spoil everything we talk about. We're going to spoil the whole movie, too.
So yes, there is a gelatinous cube, but basically this is a movie about two brothers that have a chance through a gift left by their father to bring their father back from the dead and spend 24 hours with him
For one day, yeah.
Yeah, and the spell that they're using to bring him back goes wrong, and only half of him comes back. So we have half a dad for a movie.
Yeah.
Got some legs, dancing legs in some portions.
It was an interesting choice, but I guess it was the way to cement it for them. So there wasn't any question whether they needed to go do this, whether it would really work or not, or anything like that.
Right. Yeah, it would work. They just have to train up and learn, and then find the special magic items.
I thought it was
Level up and complete the quest.
Yeah.
Right.
I thought it was really interesting to see this from sort of the other side of fairy tale. Typically, fairy tales are all about the magic and the majesty of all these fantastic creatures in this movie. I mean, the unicorns are eaten out of the trash, and magic's a completely lost art, and no one believes in wizards. And
yeah, it's like the magical world that, as they explained in the very beginning, had forgotten that magic was a thing because magic was harder than science, apparently.
It's just not cool anymore. Everybody's about insurance and overhead, right? Like Manticore.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to flip on a light switch than to summon the light, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that is fair enough. I do love the convenience of light switches and Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
But at the same time, yeah, no, I think that is a cool way that they turned it on, kind of the typical narration of stuff like that on its head. I didn't expect to like this movie. I mean, I did because it's Pixar and they do great stuff most of the time, but it was not definitely marketed to me.
Right.
Which is not a surprise, and I'm not like, that's not a problem. But I probably would not have watched this for a long time if it hadn't been for you recommending it on the podcast. But I ended up loving it.
Yeah. No, I ended up liking it quite a lot.
This had like a Toy Story level story to it, as far as the way that they crafted it to make you care about the characters, and they had realistic development over the course of the movie, and it was amazingly done.
It was, and I have to say, as somebody that loves Pixar films, I went into it maybe expecting too much because I liked it, but I did not love it. I thought that it was good and it was interesting, but I just didn't, I don't know. After it was over, I didn't sit there thinking about, oh my gosh, I loved this part or this thing that happened. That was so funny. And, I didn't have any memorable quotes to bring from it.
I am a mighty warrior. That is the memorable quote for me. The payoff from the very beginning when you first are introduced to the mother and she's doing the exercises.
Yeah.
And then that is her payoff line at the very end when she's attacking the dragon with a giant sword. Like that was so great. Killed me.
Yeah, there are lots of things about this movie that I enjoyed. I mean, the quest itself, regardless of the antics that happened, but like the actual journey that they took and where they, how they had to get there with the bridge and going through the kind of the booby trapped cave and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Those are things that I guess kind of give it an Indiana Jones / magic kind of feel.
The adventure, yeah.
Yeah, that I really enjoyed actually about this. I was afraid that it was going to be a little bit more like when they started off. I thought it was going to be a little bit more like drive to this town and pick up a clue, and then drive to this town and pick up a clue, and not necessarily go through those types of situations, which made it more interesting to me.
That there was a set goal from fairly early on.
Well, yeah, and that it wasn't just like a normal, oh, well, we found this piece of the puzzle and it gives us part of the map that means that we have to drive to a building over here and find another piece of a map and
scavenger hunt. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was more of a quest in the sense that you have to intuit from your clues. It's not just blatant.
Right. Exactly. And they were cool. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't like going from building to building like an actual building. It was find this bridge to cross, drive up these mountains, I guess, for lack of a better term, and go through these caves and complete these essentially kind of riddles to not die.
Yeah. No, the thing that's funny because that I felt like was good, but the thing that got me about this, the reason why I like it is because I really felt like the message was told really, really well. And I guess I kind of took away a message. I don't know if everybody did or if, they had something different that spoke to them, but just the way that it kind of emphasized it's easy to get hung up on the things or the people that you used to have or never got,
that you want,
or that you desire, and then to neglect some of the things that you have right in front of you.
Right. No, I mean, I think that was a very, very clear message.
Yeah, but they didn't spell it out. They literally didn't say those words, but they said it in storytelling, and I thought that it was done well, and it was heartfelt and meaningful, and I all the characters were likable through most of the movie. There wasn't a point where I was like, get this guy off the screen, he's so annoying, or anything like that.
Right.
And so I had a really good time with it, but maybe it is an expectations thing like you were saying, Rachel, because I came in with zero expectations, going, okay, well, I can sit here and watch a cartoon for 2 hours.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what it was necessarily about Onward. Maybe on a second watch, I wouldn't have those same thoughts. But I don't know, something about it was almost too realistic for what I wanted out of a Pixar movie.
Okay.
Right? Like I didn't want some huge. I like that he had the big character revelation at the end with, oh, my big brother's been my father figure this whole time. I don't need anybody else. But I mean, that's heavy for a Pixar movie.
Yeah, that's what I like about it. I think it shares a pretty good morality.
I think Pixar does a lot of heavy in their movies.
There's been some dark stuff in Toy Story.
Yeah.
Some dark stuff and Up.
Yeah, there you go. See? Pixar films.
Wall-E.
Wall-E, yeah, man. Jeez.
Yeah, Wall-E's a little too realistic.
It's a little home.
Yeah, but I think that all the voice acting was done really well.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah, Ian and Barley, obviously awesome. The main two characters voiced by Tom Holland and Chris Pratt.
Mm-hmm. And I felt like that they actually did voices. They didn't just sound like Tom Holland and Chris Pratt directly to me.
No, exactly.
You could tell it was them once you looked for it, but they didn't just immediately scream, "Oh, that's Chris Pratt," obviously.
Right. No, absolutely.
Which I kind of was expecting.
Yeah, they have more recognizable voices. They've been in things that are very popular. So yeah, it could be really easy to maybe get lost in that and want them to keep their original voices, but they did it seemed like they kind of cartooned it up to fit the character a little bit better, I think.
Yeah, and it's super impressive always having Tom Holland do a voice with his American accent, because it's just so convincing that you forget he's British, and I think he forgets he's British.
Yeah.
I bet he forgets a lot of things.
Hey, we like Tom Holland.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus was great as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love her and pretty much everything, and she was wonderful here. I thought the mom really she did a great job of solidifying that kind of just unapologetically loving mother that you get in parental role that you get in Pixar and Disney movies.
Yeah. Well, and you had two, so this movie kind of had two awesome teams, right?
Mm-hmm. So
you had Ian and Barley, and then you had Laurel and the Manticore.
Yeah. Manticore, she's awesome.
The Manticore was awesome. Octavia Spencer did a great job of playing the Manticore, voicing the Manticore. Got to get that right. And I think it was written really well. I think the Manticore was one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, Manticore was amazing. The whole thing with the pawn shop.
Yeah.
It was just so funny, and she was good through the whole thing, and pounding those energy drinks in the car.
Yeah.
Manticore was a mess, but I really enjoyed her.
Manticore was a mess. A little sting. Blink.
She went pretty hard on that cement dragon as well.
Yes. Yes, she did.
Quite the warrior.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was
Manticore, the fabled warrior.
Oh yeah, it was great to see her tavern change at the end too, because initially it was this very specific little birthday party kid establishment, and then towards the end you've got the really cool bikers, and you still have kids having birthdays, but then she's breathing fire to light the birthday candles, and
yeah,
I liked the evolution while you keep the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
They do a really good job of having payoffs.
Yes.
Little things in the beginning are going to have the transformation in the end.
Right.
And that is kind of across the board. Everything from the pixies being able to fly to the husband, or not husband, new boyfriend, Colt Bronco, deciding to. Oh, I love the fact that he was also in a police Bronco. That was the version of police car he drove was a Bronco.
Right.
But, but the fact that he decided he was born to run at the end of the movie, you know, like they all have their kind of arcs, and that's the case for pretty much everything. It's nuts.
Right. Exactly. Um, Kind of on a different note, but who thought that they could make legs interesting?
Yeah, that was one thing I did that was a little the hardest sell of the movie for me, because it kind of felt like Jar Jar Binks. It
Right.
was the foolish thing to throw in there and make it ridiculous at all points in time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I actually started watching it, and I think it was almost like they made the leg animations before they added the top to him and did those separately, because the legs always seem to be able to get up as though the top wasn't there. Like they did the
Right.
animation on the legs gorgeously, because I was paying attention to that to see, you know, was there ever a time that it was like pushing off of the top or something like that unrealistically?
Right.
And no, it did a really good job of that.
Yeah, and I was also really impressed with, like, again, you know, making legs interesting in a movie. Um, but when they got to, what was it? I guess the rest stop or whatever, and their dad is like dancing, like he's in the van, and he can feel the vibrations from the music,
Yeah.
and he starts dancing, and then they get out and they're all dancing. Like I think that's a good kind of segment, because it really, not only does it show the socks, you know, the purple socks that they had already talked about, um, but it gets involvement there other than the whole like weekend at Bernie's, you know, dragging around a dead body kind of thing, right? Like
Yeah.
you actually get the character of their dad is embodied in the legs, and you know is having fun with his kids.
And he decides to do that right when the tension's the highest between them to kind of ease it.
Right.
Yeah,
So I
and
thought that was interesting.
I liked, you know, to contradict myself with reality thing, but I liked the reality of them putting him on a leash
Right.
Yeah,
because he has no head, so he doesn't know what you're doing. So
That's
that
funny.
way you can keep him with you. I did think that was pretty funny to
It's
watch
like
him.
toddlers in the mall.
Yeah.
and they used it really well, as also like with the door closing and he's trying to grab him, and then you ended up having Barley just pull him under through the with the leash. I can't speak there.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's some good gags with it as well.
For
Now,
sure.
yeah, that's man. I don't know. Had a really good time. I laughed a lot in this. I thought that it was adequately funny. Now I don't know how much, like you were saying, Rachel, staying power it's going to have with me. I don't know if I'm going to be revisiting this, you know, a year or two down the road. But I was very pleasantly surprised and happy that I ended up watching it.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's the point of a movie, right? Everybody's going to
Fair
have a
enough.
different experience.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I liked it, so you're supposed to like it too.
Yeah, I was surprised how much I liked it.
Well,
I didn't think it was super great, but I was definitely entertained. I thought it was actually really good. It's probably, you know, definitely top 10, maybe top 5 of their movies.
nice.
Yeah.
I would have to. I had never thought about ranking them, so I couldn't say.
Well, yeah, okay. So granted, I'm not sitting here thinking through all 22 movies that they've done. I don't
Right.
I don't know all those movies off the top of my head, but of the ones I can think of, it's somewhere in there.
Yeah. Of the ones that I've seen that I liked enough to remember, it ain't bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got its place. I mean, I could probably think of 5 that I liked a little bit better, but it was still really enjoyable. It wasn't one of those movies where it's like, no, I don't ever want to watch that again. It was good. And
Well, it's like Wall-E, right? Wall-E was a good movie, but I wasn't a fan of Wall-E. Like, at all. And this beats Wall-E hands down.
yeah.
To me.
They've had some other pretty big hits, I think, in the past couple of years. which is good for them, but also sort of a downfall for new movies, right? Because they smashed it out of the park with Coco.
Yes. Yeah. Coco was really
And
good.
that's just been a year ago, so.
And they're doing something right, man. And that mixed with the power of Disney Plus, I think Disney's not in any bad position right now to be the prime multimedia company out there.
Right. Yeah, they have a formula,
Mm-hmm.
and it is a winning formula. For sure.
All right. Well, then I think that about covers it for. I keep wanting to say upwards, but it's onwards.
It is onward.
Unless there was anything else that you guys wanted to throw in before we got to our favorite scenes.
Not me.
Not me.
All right. What was your favorite scene, Daniel?
So my favorite scene, maybe predictable, but was actually the scene in the tavern with the Manticore. So like the first kind of their first stop on their journey, and they basically find the Manticore is turned into a business owner / manager
Who's reticent to take chances.
Yeah,
risk.
absolutely. Risk adverse.
Yeah.
Especially compared to where she came from, who she is. Which is it kind of it's kind of like being a child and then getting older, right? So when you're younger, you're much more carefree. You don't have as much to lose. So when you start having to worry about, I guess, growing up and fitting in, then you end up with things to lose, which makes you hesitant to do things that might cause you to lose those things. And so I think that's kind of where they found the Manticore at in her life journey at the moment. And then she ends up.
She was primed and ready for a midlife crisis.
Yeah, exactly. They kind of talk her into a corner, and she's like, "Yeah, wait, what am I doing? I am the Manticore," and burns the whole place down.
Yeah.
Yeah, when she chopped the head off the Manticore mascot, that was awesome.
Yeah. Maybe a little far. Maybe don't go that far. But I really enjoyed that scene.
It was a good one.
Yeah, I thought it was really powerful, and then you get, obviously that's your introduction to the Manticore, and then you get the real Manticore, a little out of practice, but the real Manticore after that.
Yeah, I like how they teamed her up with the mom too.
Yes, absolutely. So that was mine.
And what about you, Rachel?
I had a hard time picking a favorite scene. I enjoyed it, but there wasn't any like one major standout moment for me. But I think I'm going to have to go with the scene in the cave where they're riding the giant inflated cheese doodle.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was it was fun. He and his brother got to spend time playing around with spells and chit-chatting and recounting memories of their dad. And then kind of right there towards the end, he gets that really nice piece of who his brother is when he gets to hear about the memory he doesn't like. And I thought it was just interesting to see a little bit of growth between them, but also just a fun time.
100%.
Yeah, well, and I think that's a really pivotal scene for Ian's realization as well. So yeah, without that, I don't know that he ever gets to the point where he's like, my brother is the one that's been taking care of me and watching out for me like my dad would have been.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets the methodology of why his brother's kind of, I don't know, this
eccentric,
brave guy that just takes off on a whim all the time.
Yeah, he seems less likely to think things through than just to go for it.
Right.
And he's not afraid of anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's a lot of character growth. That's a really good scene. I love that one.
So, James, what's yours?
Um, I'm kind of like Rachel on this one. Like, it was hard to choose a favorite scene because I liked all of it kind of evenly.
Hmm.
But I would have to say favorite scene. It kind of feels like a cop out, but the fight with the dragon, and it was really, I was not expecting the payoff of "I'm a mighty warrior" at
Right.
all, and that broke me. I was laughing so hard. And so that is probably the memorable point in the movie for me, just because I was not expecting it in the slightest. And you got to see the manticore come to life to the fullest, and then you also had Ian, really find his boldness and be like his dad, like he had wanted, and
Hmm.
willing to give up the opportunity to meet his dad to to help his brother come to terms with the past regret.
Right.
And I don't know, the evolution of all the characters, the culmination of that, mixed with that one line that turned me half over. Um, that's probably my favorite scene.
Good choice. Good choice.
It was good. I enjoyed the concrete trash dragon having the little mascot face.
And when his eyebrows crash out
Right.
so that he can scowl at them, that was awesome too.
Absolutely.
All right, well, good times. I think that we would at least all recommend this movie.
Yes.
Absolutely.
We were entertained.
Yes.
Hopefully you enjoyed this review of the movie as well. If you like what you heard, please give us the social media props online and join us next time on Were You Not Entertained?